Have you ever made a man cry for you? Not because of pain, not because of heartbreak, but because something in his chest won't let him sleep. He doesn't even know why. All he knows is that he needs you. And no, it's not what you think. It's not about saying the right line or doing something wild in bed. This is deeper, more unsettling. It's that one moment where you shift from being someone he likes to the woman he can't shake off. Think about it. Men get attention all the time. They get compliments, flirty texts, even admiration. But how often does a man feel truly seen? There's a single gesture, one that speaks directly to the part of him that hides from the world. When you do this, you cut through his armor, and once you do, he's up all night, restless, not even sure why he can't stop replaying that moment. I'm about to show you what that is, and how to do it without feeling like you're trying. Before I tell you exactly what this is, I want you to picture this. He's lying awake, phone in his hand, scrolling back to your last message, trying to figure out what just happened. If you want to learn how to create that kind of emotional pull, the kind that makes you unforgettable, make sure you stick with me, because once you know this, you'll never chase him again. Now I want to ask you something. If you feel free, share it below. Have you ever had that one moment where a man looked at you like he'd never seen anyone else? What did it feel like for you? She didn't touch his hand. She touched a place in him he didn't even know was waiting to be discovered. Now let that sink into your chest for a moment, my friends. Let it echo, because today we're turning the whole story around. Have you ever wondered why some women who don't have the so-called perfect figure, don't post polished selfies, don't live on yachts in Bali, still end up being the ones a man can't shake from his mind? Why she, out of all others, is the one who lingers in his thoughts, the one he can't swap, even when he's surrounded by choices? Listen closely, because it's not about contouring your cheekbones or copying seductive poses from TikTok. No, it's something quieter, something deeper, something Carl Jung would call the power of presence. Ancient, it lives in the unseen, and once you understand this, everything shifts. Before we go on, press that like button, tap subscribe, and do it for you, not for me. Because what we're about to unlock isn't just advice, it's a whole new way to see love, connection, and your true power as a woman. Picture this, ladies. You're standing in a crowded train station, people rushing by, eyes glued to their screens, energy restless, and then a woman enters. No wide smile, no dramatic outfit, just stillness, calm eyes that don't search but really see. She doesn't push, she doesn't hustle, yet the room shifts. Heads turn, the air itself feels different. And that's not magic, that's resonance. That's a woman who knows her own presence, not because she's flawless, but because she's grounded. And men sense that. They feel it in ways they can't explain. Now tell me something. Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? Being kind, looking your best, replying fast, smiling just enough, yet still invisible to the one you desire. Like somehow you're outside of something you can't name. Here's the truth. It's not that you're lacking. It's that you've been trained to fight the wrong battle. You were taught to touch the body, but he gives his heart to the woman who touches his mind. Because true feminine power never begs to be seen. It makes him feel like he just walked into a dream he didn't know he was searching for. Most women are taught to chase attention, but the unforgettable ones draw it naturally. Not by being louder, not by revealing more, but by revealing less and meaning more. They've learned how to speak to something inside him most don't even know exists. The part of him that's weary of pretending. The part of him that's afraid, hungry, driven, and silently hoping someone will look past the mask. And the women who get this, they don't get left behind. They get remembered. Because a man may share his body with many, but his mind, his surrender, that belongs to the woman who knows how to live not only in his arms, but in his thoughts. So if you've ever wondered how to become that woman, the one who comes to his mind when he's alone, the one he compares others to, the one who lives in his quiet, stay close, because what I'm about to show you isn't manipulation. It's not tricks or tactics. It's about becoming so emotionally steady, so deeply magnetic, that your very presence whispers to the deepest corners of him. This isn't about touching his skin. This is about awakening his mind. And once you do that, you won't have to chase love again. It'll come to you naturally. Let's begin. Number 1. A man doesn't fall for simple touch. He falls for tension, the charge of the moment. Desire doesn't spark when he finally feels your skin. It begins in the instant he knows he can't. That's the part most people overlook, my friends. They believe seduction is about how close you can get. But true feminine power lives in the space between, not in the contact, but in the tension that builds before the touch. Let me show you a picture. Imagine you're in a dim theater. The music rises, the stage glows softly. Two characters move toward each other. Their fingers almost meet, but don't. The audience leans forward, hearts beat quicker. Why? Because the moment hasn't landed yet. It's about to. And that waiting, that edge, that's where the electricity lives. That's what most women miss, because we were taught to close the gap, to hurry in, to grab the kiss, the call, the what are we answer. We were trained to measure progress by what a man gives. But true connection isn't built on confirmation, it's built on curiosity. A man doesn't surrender to what's certain, he surrenders to the pull. And the more you try to control the outcome, text first, explain too soon, ask where you stand after every meeting, the more you suffocate the very breath that desire needs to thrive. And I get it. You want security. You want to know where you are. You're tired of playing games, tired of holding back, tired of wondering if he feels what you feel. So you lean in too far. You give too much too soon, because you think closeness means connection, but it doesn't. Not always. Because when you hurry the moment, you drain it of its power. When you force clarity, you quiet the mystery. And when you hold on too tightly, you miss that he was already leaning in, but you got there first, and now it's gone. Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. And that's what this is about. It's not that he felt nothing, it's that you didn't give him the space to feel it for himself. Here's a truth no one told us growing up. Men don't fall because you reach for them. They fall because they reach for you and find you steady, unshaken. There's nothing more magnetic than a woman who doesn't need to prove her value, who knows how to hold tension with elegance, who doesn't flinch in the silence, who lets the moment breathe instead of rushing to fill it. Let me put it simply. Anyone can touch his chest, but not everyone can leave a shiver running through his spine long after she's gone. So, next time you crave closeness, pause. Let him wonder. Let him lean closer. Let him miss something. Because if he doesn't miss you, he won't chase you. And if he doesn't chase you, he'll never value what he finds. You don't need to reach across the table. You just need to sit there, poised, calm, quiet, and let the air between you carry the weight. That's where true power lives. So if you've ever felt too much or not enough, if you've ever poured yourself out and felt empty, if you've ever tried to earn love and only felt drained, hear me now. You don't need to touch his body to be unforgettable. You need to master the pause before the touch, the breath before the leap, the silence that says more than words. Because desire isn't born when he holds you. It's born the moment he wonders if he ever truly will. And that's only the beginning, my friends, because what we are unlocking next isn't about distance, it's about depth. When you learn how to reach into his mind without saying anything, he won't just think about you, he'll feel you, even when you're not around. Stay close, because we're about to go even deeper. Number 2, the mind is where true closeness really starts. The body might remember your touch, but the mind, oh, the mind holds on to your mystery. My friends, if you want to be in a man's body for one night, be clear. But if you want to live in his mind for months, be unforgettable without speaking a word. Here's the truth most people never really get. A man's body reacts to what is in front of him, but his mind, that's where all the stories are written. That's where the real bond is born, not in the physical touch, but in the images, the thoughts, the curiosity that you leave behind without saying much. Let me explain it like this. Imagine walking by a bakery, catching the smell of warm cinnamon and vanilla. You didn't even see the cake, yet suddenly you want it. Why? Because your mind took over, building the whole taste on its own without anyone describing it. That's what happens when you learn to speak to a man's thoughts instead of only his senses. You don't have to tell everything, you just give hints, a little tease, and let his imagination finish it for you. Instead of simply saying, "I miss you, try this. If you were here right now, I'd probably be causing trouble." It's playful, it's open, it paints a picture. When you speak like this, you're not giving him a line, you're giving him a scene. A moment he keeps going back to while driving, working, lying awake at night thinking, why can't I stop picturing her? Carl Jung once said, the unconscious doesn't work with facts, it speaks in symbols. So talk in symbols, not long explanations, not pressure, not performance. Say less but mean more, and let him be drawn to your essence, not just your presence. When you do this, you stop being just a woman he met. You become a feeling, and feelings last far longer than a simple flirt ever could. Now we're going even further into your secret power, the stillness that makes him ache for you without a single word. Stay close. Number 3, stillness speaks louder than seduction. In a world filled with noise, the woman who stays calm in silence becomes the strongest echo in his mind. Let that stay with you for a moment, my friends, because we live in times where everyone is chasing reactions. Everyone wants to be seen, liked, chosen, and in all that noise, the woman who has nothing to prove, she stands out without even trying. Most believe the way to connect is by doing more talking, more laughing, more effort, more pleasing. But the real truth is, stillness speaks in ways that words never could. Imagine walking into a place full of people, all trying hard, talking loud, telling jokes, moving fast. And then there she is, calmly leaning against a wall, sipping her drink slowly, fully present, completely at ease. She's not trying to win anyone's attention, yet everyone can't help but want to know who she is. That's the power of stillness. That's presence. The kind of energy that doesn't beg for attention but naturally draws it in. Here's what many miss. Stillness isn't weakness, it's strength. It tells him, I'm not here to chase, I'm here to be experienced. When you stay in that space, not fidgeting, not forcing, not rushing to fill every pause with words, you become the most interesting mystery in the room. Carl Jung once said, your vision only becomes clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens. Stillness shows that inner calm. You don't need to win anyone over, because you've already won yourself. Men feel that. They sense the difference between a woman who needs attention and one who knows she already has it. So next time you feel the urge to overtalk, over-explain, or overdo, just stop, breathe, and let the quiet last a second longer than you're used to. In that stillness, you don't lose him, you pull him closer. What we're unlocking next isn't about staying quiet just for mystery. It's about knowing when to hold the moment, right before it lands. That pause, that almost, is where real desire grows. Stay with me. Number 4, the pull of the almost. Sometimes the most unforgettable moment is the one that didn't fully happen. You see, my friends, there's a special kind of tension that lives in what I call the almost. The almost kiss, the almost touch, the almost confession. The reason it burns into memory is because it never gave him closure. It left just enough space for his imagination to wander. And trust me, the male mind loves to wander. Picture this. You're watching a movie. The couple leans in, music builds, your heart races, they're about to kiss, and then the screen cuts to black. Silence. You're left hanging, your mind instantly taking over, replaying the moment, wondering, Did they kiss? What happened after? That question, that open ending, is what keeps you hooked. That's how you stay in his thoughts. Carl Jung said, "A symbol is always bigger than the thing itself because symbols let the unconscious wake up." When you become a woman who represents intimacy instead of rushing into it, you turn into the story he keeps rewriting in his mind. So next time you're in one of those charged moments, when he's leaning in, waiting for more, try this. Pause, smile, step back, and say something like, "Well, we probably shouldn't, but wow, that was close." Leave it right there. No explanations, no next move. You just created an emotional cliffhanger, and now he's craving the next part. When you always give him everything right away, there's nothing left to dream about. But when you leave him with just enough, that almost moment, he stays hungry. And longing, my friends, doesn't come from having it all, it comes from wanting more. Never forget the strength of what's unfinished. It stays longer, digs deeper, and echoes louder. Next, we're not just keeping him wondering, we're about to let him feel what it's like to truly be seen. Not flattered, not copied, but deeply inspired. Stay with me. Number 5. He doesn't need just another mirror. He needs a muse. He doesn't fall for the woman who only reflects who he already is. He falls for the one who shows him who he could grow into. That, my friends, is the difference between simple attraction and real transformation, between being desired and being unforgettable. Many try to bond with a man by mirroring what he already knows about himself. They reflect his charm, praise his strengths, nod at his wins. Sure, it feels nice for a while, but what happens when that mirror breaks, when his shine fades, when he's no longer at his best? When the mask slips, that's when the muse steps in. Because a mirror only shows him who he already is, but a muse whispers to the part of him he hasn't fully grown into yet. She doesn't just notice what's there, she awakens what's possible. Picture a man who has built his entire identity around success, reputation, and appearance. Everyone around him praises the polished version. Then one night he sits across from a woman who says, "I see the fire in you, but I also see the fear you've never spoken out loud." She's not criticizing him, she's inviting him to grow, to rise, to step into something deeper than the roles he's been performing. That, my friends, is true seduction at the soul level. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." When you become the woman who reflects not just his image but his evolution, you become unforgettable. Not because you flattered his ego, but because you stirred something inside him that he thought had been lost. So don't simply echo his confidence. Speak to the man within the man. Say something that lifts the veil just enough for him to realize someone out there truly sees more. You're not here to make him feel admired. You're here to make him feel awakened. Because when a woman speaks with presence and precision, when she touches not his pride but his essence, she becomes the woman he can't explain, the one who unsettles him in the best possible way, the one he remembers not for what she wore, but for how she saw him when nobody else could. And up next, we're going to shift the game even further, because before he can crave you, he must respect you. Stay with me. Respect first, desire second. Desire without respect is just a passing spark, but respect, that's the seed of real devotion. Let's get real, my friends. You've seen it. Women who are desired, chased, even obsessed over, yet never truly valued. The harsh truth is this: if he doesn't respect you, no amount of chemistry will keep him around. We live in a world that glorifies being wanted, being texted back, being noticed. But here's what no one teaches you. Being desired doesn't mean being chosen. Desire that isn't grounded in respect is shallow, quick, reactive. It touches your body but never holds your heart. Respect is what makes a man pause. It's what makes him take off the mask, sit taller, speak more deliberately. And what truly earns that respect? Not performance, not perfection, presence. standards, even silence. Carl Jung said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." That truth applies here. You don't need to shout your worth or explain your boundaries repeatedly. You simply need to embody them. Imagine this. He's used to women who entertain, flatter, and chase him. Then he meets you. You don't rush to reply. You don't twist yourself to fit. You don't perform to please. You meet him not as someone trying to win him, but as someone who already knows she's the prize. That shift shakes him because he's not used to a woman who doesn't audition for his approval. Men don't pursue the loudest woman. They pursue the one who knows her value and doesn't compete for theirs. So if you've ever wondered why he keeps going back to the woman who wasn't easier or prettier or kinder, this is why. She didn't act from lack. She acted from knowing. Respect always comes before depth. Respect makes him hesitate before playing games. Respect builds the foundation where real desire can grow rather than burn out. Next, we step into the kind of language that speaks directly to his subconscious, where words don't just impress, they linger. Speak in images, not explanations. The heart doesn't respond to lists, it responds to pictures. And if you want to be unforgettable, don't just say things that make sense, say things that make him feel. The unconscious mind, the part of a man that builds true connection, doesn't process logic, it understands emotions, images, sensations. This is where most people stumble. They try to be clear, they explain, define, label. I really like you, I miss you a lot. I want to see where this is going. Sure, those words are honest, but they fall flat. Why? Because they don't ignite imagination. They don't open a mental scene. And the moment you fail to spark feeling, you become just another voice in the noise. Carl Jung once said, "The psyche is not made of matter but of meaning, and meaning lives in images, not explanations." So instead of saying, "I miss you," try, "If you were here right now, we'd be curled up on the couch, laughing about something ridiculous and forgetting the rest of the world even exists." Do you feel the difference? One is a statement, the other is an invitation. You're not giving him information, you're giving him a glimpse, moment, a feeling he can slip into like a dream. Imagine sending him a late night message, not thinking of you, but it's the kind of night where your hoodie would be around my shoulders and my feet would be in your lap. Suddenly his mind is there, and he doesn't just miss you, he feels you. That's emotional fluency, that's symbolic seduction. That's what makes a woman unforgettable, not because she shouts louder, but because she speaks the language of depth. So don't over-explain and don't clarify your feelings like an interview. Paint them, suggest them. Let him step into the world you create. Because when a man feels something from you that no one else stirs in him, he doesn't just hear you, he holds you, in his thoughts, in his memory, and eventually in his heart. Next, let's talk about the most powerful signal of all, and it's not your words or your glance, it's your energy. Don't just touch his body to be remembered. Touch his soul and he'll never let you go in his mind. That, my friends, is where we land. After all the words, the subtle glances, the half-finished moments and whispered hints, one thing stays with him longer than all the rest: your energy. You can learn all the clever lines, master perfect timing, wear the most flattering outfit, and say every right thing, but none of it matters if your energy doesn't match your truth. Words can be copied, looks can fade, but your energy? That's your fingerprint, and whether you realize it or not, it always speaks first. You already know this, you've felt it. That moment someone enters a room and says nothing, yet you feel them. They carry something, a calmness, a gravity, a presence that can't be faked. That's what happens when a woman knows who she is, when she walks aligned with her values instead of her fears, when she speaks with intention instead of anxiety, when her silence doesn't whisper, "I hope this works," but declares, "I trust that it will." Carl Jung once said, "What you believe about yourself becomes your truth." So, here's the real question. What do you believe about yourself? Because your energy always tells the truth. If you believe you're not enough, you'll overcompensate. If you believe you need to earn love, you'll perform for it. But if you truly believe you're already the experience, you stop chasing, you start radiating. That's the woman he never forgets. The one who didn't reach for him but stood so fully in her presence that he couldn't help being pulled in, not by force or fear but by feeling. So hear this. You don't need to beg for attention, compete, or persuade. You just need to return to yourself. Because when you do, the right man won't just notice you. He'll feel something he can't put into words. And that, my friends, is where the real seduction lives. Not in your moves, but in your energy. So if this journey has awakened something in you, like this, subscribe, stay glowing, stay grounded, and I'll see you in the next one.